Okay, so we'll start. First, so in the 5 editorials, first thing that we are going to, so one of the topics is the Raisina Dialogue. So in India, recently we had the 9th edition of Raisina Dialogue, and it concluded. So there were some significant events which happened there. Okay, so what happened, what were the discussions and all that, we'll be seeing that. We'll be going into that a little bit, and after that, next theme of discussion is about the HCES, Household Consumption Expenditure Survey. Okay, that survey will tell us, it has given data and findings. Based on this survey, the Niti Aayog has stated that, chief has stated that poverty levels in India are declining. Okay, so that's based on this survey. So the findings of this survey and this report can help you add points to your GS1 paper, in your society section, rural urban divide and things like that have been discussed. And also it will help you in your GS3 economy. Okay. Next one is on land management policy. Why land management policy is important for India. So this can, it is part of your GS2 governance paper. Okay, in governance, government policies and initiatives. In that, you can categorize this land management policy. And next is, understanding the world of informal waste picker. So this one has relevance for your in your GS1 society paper, social empowerment. Okay, and it is relevant for topics like social justice. So where you're going to focus on this vulnerable section, and this topic also has relevance from your environment point of view. So you can use points from here in GS3 also. So like in that way, this waste pickers thing will come. Editorial will be useful. And last one is about artificial intelligence. What are the challenges arising due to artificial intelligence, and why there is a need to regulate artificial intelligence? Okay, so these are the ones. And okay, now wait. How do I know if this is sharing or not? Share it இருக்கா? Sharing ன்னு வருது. எது இதுயா? ஓகே, கிளிக் பண்ணியாச்சு. இல்ல இதுல அந்த ஸ்கிரீன் வரணும். This thing is coming. Okay, so first, okay, so first we'll do the findings of HCS stands for HCS now, household so in the survey la enna பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, they will try to study the consumption patterns. So people வந்து அவங்க இன்கம் எங்கெங்க யூஸ் பண்றாங்க, how people are spending their income, on what items they're spending, okay, what happens, the way they spend and all that will be studied. And this consumption pattern will be studied across rural and urban households. Rural households, they will do it in rural household and urban household. So this is a survey which is done by NSO, okay, National Statistics Office, and it is done once in 5 years. Okay, it is done by NSO and it is done once in 5 years. So previously the survey happened in 2011 to 12. Then in between 2017 to 18, the survey happened, but data was not published. Due to some quality concerns and all that, the data was not published. They skipped publishing the data. And after that, now only it is being published. Okay, 22, 23. இப்போதான் வந்து publish பண்றாங்க. And இந்த இதுல வந்து they have taken a household sample size, a sample of 2.6 lakh households were surveyed. 2.6 lakh households were surveyed. And இதுல வந்து 1.5 rural, 1.5 lakh rural households, இன்னொரு 1.1 lakh வந்து urban. 1.5 lakh for rural and 1.1 lakh urban households. Yes. So இவ்வளவுதான் வந்து this is about this HCES. And இதுல what they actually do is they will ask, actually they go visit households. Okay, households போய் visit பண்ணிட்டு what they'll be asking is they'll ask questions on what is the expenditure on consumer durables, consumer durables la evlo people spend பண்றாங்க, on services what they are spending, on food what they are spending, on conveyances. So இந்த மாதிரி வேரியஸ் காம்பனன்ட்ஸ்ல பீப்புள் வந்து அவங்க இன்கம் எப்படி யூஸ் பண்றாங்க அப்படின்ட்டு அனலைஸ் பண்றதுக்காக they will do a household survey and respondents in the household will be questioned. Okay, and multiple visits. So actually in one go they will not ask all these questions. So each time they'll visit, they'll ask one question and come. The idea is to prevent respondent fatigue. So fatigue means அவங்க answer சொல்லி tired ஆயிட்டாங்கன்னா they will not think properly and give proper answers. So they have to actually recall, they have to think about how they spent their money that particular month, and they have to actually give the answer to the person who's questioning. So அதை அவங்க ப்ராப்பரா கொடுக்கணுங்கிறதுக்காக to enhance the quality of the answers collected and the data collected, several visits will be made to the respondent's house. Okay, so this will be done, and based on this they find out monthly per capita expenditure of households. Monthly per capita expenditure of households will be calculated. So இது வச்சு அது வந்து அனலைஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க. So after doing that, can I change? So what happens here is, now based on all this, what they found out now, okay, the finding now is that or just write findings. So finding one important finding என்னன்னா rural urban consumption gap has declined. So rural urban consumption gap has declined, and now it comes to around 71% only. So it was actually 91% in 2011 to 12. In 2011 to 12, it was 91%. Okay, அப்படி இதோட மீனிங் என்னன்னா, இப்போ வந்து ஒரு urban household வந்து 100 rupees spend பண்ணாங்கன்னா ஒரு rural household வந்து 29 rupees spend பண்றாங்க. urban la or household 100 rupees na rural or household spend பண்ணது வந்து 29 rupees. So this is the gap actually. But earlier in 2011 to 12 the status was that 100 rupees urban la spend பண்ணாங்கன்னா rural la வந்து 9 rupees தான் வந்து spend பண்ணுவாங்க. So so much of gap was there, but now the gap has come down, okay, which means that rural urban income gap is declining, or rural la வந்து income வந்து enhancing, like that. Rural growth is there. That is the finding actually. And one more finding is that monthly per capita expenditure has increased 2.5 times. So compared to 2011-12, monthly household expenditure on the 2.5 times increase, which means that GDP is rising. So GDP rising, or let's say income is rising. Adanala the households are spending more. Okay, so this actually indicates GDP growth. Okay, here you can say this indication is that rural income gap is declining, or rural income divide is declining. And this indicates GDP growth. And next finding is that consumption on food is now below 50% in rural and urban. Rendered villages and cities la consumption on food is or the income spent on food, whatever money people spend from their income, whatever is spent on food is less than 50%. Earlier it used to be a huge chunk, but ipo on the food level spending kammi agudhu, which means that people are having more disposable income. So whenever people's income rises, their expenditure on food will actually decline. They'll start spending on other things. And so this indicates increased income. So this happens only when there is an increase in income, and people's expenditure on conveyance, consumer durables, services like hospitalization, so in the எல்லா இடத்துலயும் வந்து spending has increased. Conveyance, consumer durables, hospitalization, on all these areas spending has increased, whereas food la வந்து spending வந்து decrease ஆயிட்டு. So this means that people are having rising incomes. Fine. Can I change? Over. Oh, okay, fine, right. Shall I change? No, it will take time. Slide will be there. Okay, after class also you can copy. So next, again about food. What is the next finding means? Food la ulla next finding enna cereals and pulses. On cereals and pulses, expenditure வந்து decline ஆயிடுச்சு. Whereas expenditure on beverages, processed food, milk, meat, egg, fruits, vegetables, these kind of things are increasing. On cereals and pulses, the as it is food spending has declined, and adhiliyume cereals and pulses la vandu decline is more, that there is a decline, whereas on beverages, processed food, milk, meat, egg, fruits, vegetables, on all these things the spending has increased, which again shows increasing disposable income. Ena processed food use pannumna disposable income irukano. Okay, and processed food is there more means it also indicates industrialization, urbanization, இதெல்லாமும் indicate பண்ணுது processed food consumption. Okay, and the fact that people are taking meat and egg meats, it indicates that people are shifting, or and there is enhanced consumption of animal based protein. Animal based protein use ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇருக்கு. Okay, so there is more of animal protein. This one shows industrialization and urbanization. Fine. And also you can say that all this, the consumption, the shift towards meat, egg, fruits, vegetables, it shows that our agricultural cropping pattern also has to change. Now under MSP, we are procuring so much of wheat and rice and pulses for distribution. Now we have to change the, probably it is time for the cropping pattern in the country to shift and move towards things like fruits, vegetables, and also shifting towards agro-allied activities like milk, meat, and egg. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்ட்டு you can say. So this also is possible. இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சேஞ்ச்க்கும் டைம் வந்துச்சு அப்படின்ட்டு this survey has indicated. And then what else? So that's all I think in the survey. These were the findings of the survey, and based on this, the Niti Aayog chief has said that he has said that in India the GDP growth has been so much, and அப்படின்ட்டு அவர் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. அதனால தான் இந்த மாதிரி ஃபைண்டிங்ஸ்லாம் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி he has just stated. And yeah, so can I change? So this kind of a survey is important because it helps us come to a conclusion about macroeconomic indicators like CPI. CPI means consumer price index. Okay, so consumer price index, should the basket be changing? Because on food the expenditure is decreasing. Appo nama CPI basket liyo food oda weightage vandu reduce pananuma அப்படின்ட்டு one question is coming. And obviously it is telling about GDP. It is also telling about rural or urban income divide. So all these macroeconomic parameters can be analyzed. Fine. And since this person has spoken about Niti Aayog has spoken about your poverty decline, we have to look at this latest method of poverty analysis which we use in the country. It is called as Niti Aayog multi-dimensional poverty index. Okay, so this has been designed on the lines of MDPI, UNDP MDPI. So on the model which Niti Aayog has developed an indicator for India. So idhula vandu or 12 indicators. It is just similar to MDPI, but here we are using 12 indicators. And some of the indicators include nutrition, maternal health, years of schooling, attendance, years of schooling, attendance. Okay, housing, access to housing, asset ownership, then what is that? Electrification of households, access to drinking water, sanitation, bank accounts. So like these, some indicators are taken. And based on Niti Aayog multidimensional poverty index of 2022-23, based on this, the poverty levels in India are at 11.23%. So according to the latest index, poverty level in India is 11.23%. Yes. And this poverty reduction can be attributed to various government schemes like MG Narega, PDS, National Food Security Act, various skilling initiatives. Okay, so many things. So we are not going into that now, but this is the finding. And also, since we okay, this was about poverty, and also there is data now to show that in the current financial year, in financial year 2023 to 24, the GDP growth is expected to be 7.6%. According to latest estimate, GDP growth is expected to be 7.6%. And in Q3, the growth was actually 8.4%. Okay, so all these are in alignment. HCS expenditure increase, GDP growth, poverty decline, everything is actually matching. So things may be very bright for India in the near future and now. Can I rub this? Okay, so this is the status, and so this is about HCES and all that. Next one more editorial was there, similar in the related context, whether India is okay. So there was one author, there was one editorial, and அந்த author whether India is growing அப்படின்ற ஒரு question கேட்டு he had done some analysis. So we will see what that analysis was. A short one. It may be helping you gather points. Okay. So he is saying that in 2024 to 29, India is expected to reach $5 trillion, and we are also soon going to be the third largest economy in the world. Okay, so India is on its way to becoming the third largest economy in the world, and this target is to be achieved by 2024 to 29. Okay, and இது அவர் சொல்லியிருக்கிறாரு, and how he is saying this is mean, how, so on what basis so he is calling India as a shining India. Okay, to support the fact that India is growing, he is calling India as shining India, and he is saying that stock market capitalization is increasing. So shining India and proof பண்ணா அவர் என்னெல்லாம் சொல்றாருன்னா, stock market capitalization is increasing, GDP is rising, and luxury homes, car sales. Okay, the car sales, number of cars being sold, it is expected to be the highest in this financial year. Okay, and the average car price also is rising. Now the average Indian car buyer what the buyer is paying is 11.5 lakh. Okay, as of 2022-23. 2018-19 it was actually 7.6 lakhs. From 2018-19 7.6 lakh to now it has 22-23 it has increased to 11.5 lakhs. So, and then air traffic, domestic air traffic is increasing. So a lot of passengers, more people are using flights. அதுக்கப்புறம் UPI transactions, that is indicating digitization. UPI transaction increase ஆகுது. Then what else? So yeah, that's it. And yeah, high-end mobile sets, smartphone penetration, high-end smartphones. So high-end smartphones and the usage will increase. So all this he has found out, and based on this, he is saying that. So in the parameters la edutittu அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, he is saying there is something called as, can we change this? There is something called as premiumization of expenditure, which means people are spending on higher quality goods, be it high-end mobiles, costlier cars, luxury homes, the share market investing, okay, air traffic. On the money expenditure itself, the kind of expenditure which people are doing is going up. So adu he is calling it as, he is labeling it as premiumization of expenditure, which he is associating with income mobility owing to, so அவர் இப்படி சொல்றாரு, income mobility due to higher GDP growth இருக்குது, அதனால there is premiumization of expenditure அப்படின்ட்டு he is making a finding. So with all this he is saying that India is becoming a shining India அப்படின்னு அவர் சொல்றாரு, owing to higher growth. Yes, அப்புறம் ஆனா he is also putting one more scenario where he is saying dualism or divergence is also there. On one hand, we have Shining India. So on the Mari indicators, knowledge Shining India. In that, you can also add GST collection. Month after month, our GST revenue is rising. That author didn't say, but on the monthly GST when you're going for the exam, what is that? Rupees 1.6 lakh crore or 1.7 lakh crore. And the money or average or value. Exam time and the monthly previous 2-3 months. Okay. So yeah, you can put that GST revenue also. And coming to next point of author, he's also saying that there is dualism or divergence. While on one hand we have Shining India, our இன்னொரு statement என்னன்னா that there is lot of subsistence agriculture. So this we can say that in our country there are many small and marginal farmers. Small and marginal farmers வந்து நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. So that we can link it to subsistence agriculture. And next is free food grains. So while we are saying that we are 5th largest economy in the world, 5 trillion GDP in the மாதிரிலாம் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கோம், but free food grain under PM Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. So அது வந்து it has been extended for another 5 years. So if we are growing so much, why are we covering people through free food grains? More than 80 crore population is benefiting from this. Okay, more than 80 crore people are benefiting, and இது வந்து from Jan 1, 2024 to next 5 years, till 5 years. So other one that this author has highlighted. And also he has spoken about increasing demand for MG Narega work. So if the economy is growing, அவ்வளோ GDP growth இருக்கு, jobs இருக்கு அந்த மாதிரினா அப்போ எதுக்கு MG நரேகால work demand வந்து ஜாஸ்தி ஆகுது அப்படின்னு he's questioning. So அது வந்து state scheme to provide 100 days of unskilled labor, paid job. So he is questioning why like that. And then one more increasing demand for MG Narega work. Okay, and one more finding that he has made is agriculture is employing 45%. So various sectors, service and manufacturer oda agriculture la dhaan nariya people வந்து concentrated ஆ இருக்காங்க. GDP growth na people should shift out of agriculture, that is not happening அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லிருக்காரு. And okay, yeah, these are the problems that he has highlighted. And he also mentioned one more point in this Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, when the Israel when there was an advertisement for job seekers in Israel. So many people applied. So that also he pointed. The government is saying that unemployment is declining, but Israel job offers irukku அப்படினு சொல்லும்போது so many people applied. So he's asking whether unemployment is really declining. That also is asked. Okay, so there were a lot of people who applied from what is that place called? Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, those two states. Yes. So this is the thing. So this is with respect to the what is that? Household consumption expenditure survey and whether economy is growing and all that. So two things were there. So we discussed this. And next we'll go to the next theme. That is Raisina Dialogue 2024. Raisina Dialogue 2024. And okay, so this is India's initiative. Okay, it's a multilateral conference. Raisina Dialogue was actually multilateral conference on geopolitics, geoeconomics, and various global challenges. Okay. So, இப்போ நடந்த Raisina Dialogue வந்து 9th edition. And since 2016, this has been happening. 2016 ல இருந்து இப்படி ஒரு dialogue நடக்குது. And it is an initiative by Ministry of External Affairs. Okay, Ministry of External Affairs along with Observer Research Foundation. This is the civil society organization, think tank. Okay, not government, it's a think tank and civil society organization, non-governmental body. So avungalum Ministry of External Affairs சேர்ந்து இத பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. So idea behind this dialogue is that see, India is a growing power. Now we are going to be the third largest. We are already fifth largest economy in the world. We are waiting to becoming the third largest economy in the world. So it's not that we want to grow just economically. We also want to become a leader of the world. So leader of the world na world oda issues la eduthu analyze panni adha problems irundha adu solve pannum. So all that has to be done. So we have to act like a responsible player, not just bothering about our internal issues, but also other things which are concerning the world. So there are many such dialogues in the world, and this Raisina Dialogue was actually modeled on the basis of a dialogue called as Shangri-La Dialogue, which happens in Singapore. So on the basis la da namma in the mari we wanted our version of it, and that's why this Raisina Dialogue came about. Okay, so you can say, if you have to put it in a in a catchy way, you can say that this is New India's diplomatic outreach to the world. Okay, New India and sollalam, or you can also say it is a Viksit Bharat. Okay, so where we have big agendas, big things to discuss, challenges எல்லாம் discuss பண்ணுவோம். So அதனால. Yes. And in this year, in this dialogue, the guest was it was actually inaugurated by Greek PM. Okay, the Raisina Dialogue chief guest was Greek PM. He inaugurated the dialogue. Our inaugurate pannaru. And generally in Raisina Dialogue, the participants are civil society organization, scholars, media persons, countries, so national level government, okay, local governments, and the various delegates, lot of stakeholders irpanga. So this time we had representation from around 115 countries. Okay, so this was the thing. And in Raisina Dialogue, the kind of diplomacy that happens is track 1 diplomacy, and track 1.5 diplomacy. So track 1 diplomacy na government to government. On the dialogue on the track 1 diplomacy in solvom. 1.5 track diplomacy na government irukum or civil society organization irukum. Innor side la or government irukum, civil society organization irukum. So on the sala issues வந்து government and civil society organization சேர்ந்து discuss பண்ணுவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் track 1.5 diplomacy. Whereas government மட்டும் discuss பண்றது சில ரொம்ப critical sensitive national issues will be there. That will be done by track 1 diplomacy. Track 2 diplomacy na it is solely by non-governmental organization. Okay, so in Raisina these kind of diplomacies happen, track 1 and track 1.5. Okay, so generally when they're asking bilateral issues, rendu countries ku problem அப்படினு சொல்லும்போது you can suggest this 1.5 diplomacy, track 2 diplomacy. அப்பனா government issue இருக்கும்போது இந்த non governmental bodies can talk and try to build trust and bridge the differences. Okay. Okay, so coming back to what happened. So இதெல்லாம் நடந்துச்சு. So what went on in the meeting? So what was discussed in Raisina Dialogue? So what was discussed அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, if you see, okay, the Greek Prime Minister, he spoke about importance of connectivity. Okay, world connectivity, transport, trade, அந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்களுக்காக he spoke about importance of connectivity, and he also spoke about importance of IMEC, and we'll discuss about IMEC. What is IMEC? Okay, we will அது கொஞ்சம் important ஆனது, so I'll talk about it again. So IMEC, for now I'll tell you what it is. You can write it as India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. Okay, so connectivity solita, he said that there is a need for this project, India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor, and he also called for UNSC reforms. So presently UNSC la reforms தேவை. வேர்ல்ட்ல நிறைய வார்ஸ் போயிட்டு இருக்கு. Israel and the Hamas war is going on, Russia Ukraine war is going on. So the world order based on UN charter and the older UNSC, that's not working. அவங்களால வந்து இந்த வார்ஸ் ஸ்டாப் பண்ண முடியல. So UNSC ல ரிஃபார்ம்ஸ் தேவை அப்படின்ட்டு this Greek PM has stated. Okay, that was one thing. And then one more important thing, one more important event which happened in Raisina was that there was a delegation called as NB8. Okay, that means Nordic Nordic Baltic Forum. Okay, so a ministerial delegation of 8 countries, and the 8 countries yarnala NSF. NSF means Norway, Sweden, Finland. Okay, இவங்க then Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Iceland, Denmark. So from these countries, ministerial delegation visited the what is this Raisina Dialogue. And what is the significance of this is that it is this NB8 forum's first visit outside Europe. Usually in the NB8 forum வந்து யூரோப்புள்ள நடக்கிற மீட்டிங்ஸ்ல தான் பார்ட்டிசிபேட் பண்ணுவாங்க. But first time they have come outside Europe to participate in a international level dialogue. So it shows their trust in India, their respect for India. Okay, so that you can say. So what these people stated was that obviously they expressed concerns about war. So they are people who are actually very much affected by the Russia-Ukraine war. They are avangaloda location வந்து in proximity to the war zone. Okay, and many of them are NATO players also. So their interest is that the war should not go on, and obviously they asked India to reconsider its stand towards Russia. So India வந்து Russia வந்து warல வந்து அவ்வளவா அப்போஸ் பண்ணல, because we have some mutual interest with Russia. அதனால நம்ம ஓப்பனா கண்டெம் பண்றது இல்ல. But they said that we should reconsider our stand. Okay, that they said. And they also invited India for the peace conference in Switzerland. The peace conference in Switzerland is actually to stop the, they're going to discuss on the Russia-Ukraine war and how to stop. அப்படின்னு சொல்லி discuss பண்றதுக்கு one conference is set to happen. And this conference is happening on the request of the Ukrainian president. Okay, so அவர் கேட்டு வந்து இந்த கான்ஃபரன்ஸ் நடக்க போகுது, and these people have invited India for that conference. Okay, and they also said that they support rules based order. Okay, so as of now wars and all are happening because world la வந்து rules based order வந்து respect பண்ணல, UN charter respect பண்ணல. Okay, rules based order, respect for UN charter, Then they also asked for this, what's that called? Free trade. They are supporting free trade. They want multilateralism. Yes. Then innovation. They can I change this? So இதெல்லாம் வந்து sensitive issues, strategic issues which they have called for cooperation on. And இது தாண்டி they also want to cooperate in areas like technology and innovation, green transition, green energy, trade, and investment. So the fact that NB8 is in visiting is a very good sign for India, because India வந்து இந்த region கூட trade பண்ண இன்னும் opportunities increase ஆயிரும், because it is a high income region. So Indian exports க்கு ஒரு market, okay, so அவங்களோட purchasing power வந்து higher இருக்கும், so they can actually buy more, and so the fact that they came is a good thing for India. So இந்த மாதிரி விஷயங்களும் வந்து டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணாங்க. So they want all this also. They also spoke about tourism and the space cooperation. So all this also was spoken about. Yes. And in this dialogue, one more, what was a statement? Okay, let's say statement. One another statement was made by the Minister of External Affairs, where he called India as a bridging power. Bridging power. Bridging power, na, he said India can be an intermediary between global north and global south. Okay, so Minister of External Affairs, he said India can act as a bridging power between global north and global south. ஏன்னா நம்ம வந்து we are somewhere in the middle. நம்ம வந்து developing, we have poverty, agrarian, economy and all that. But GDP wise also we have grown. So பெரிய கண்ட்ரீஸ்க்கு லெவல்ல GDP இருக்கு, but developing countries face பண்ற அதே issues நம்மளும் face பண்றோம். So that is there. So because of which we can be a bridging power between global north and global south. Global north is developed world and global south is the developing world. And he also said India is Vishwamitra, or friend of the world. So India is Vishwamitra, or friend of the world, because we do not make war with anyone. We don't go for so much of fights and all that. Okay, we are a peace-loving nation. So our stand, whatever stand we take is, most of the times it is fair and just. So adanala, because of which India has become Vishwamitra, or friend of the world. அது சொல்லிருக்காங்க. And for this global south, India specifically made one point. He said global south kaga நம்ம என்ன சொன்னோம்னா, the global south countries are facing difficulties in availing credit. இப்போ இந்தியாவுக்கு வந்து ஒரு developmental project அப்படின்னா credit loans தர நிறைய பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க, and that loan also we are getting at lower interest rate, because we are a growing country. Lending to us is beneficial for them, அதனால they are lending. But when it comes to African countries and all, they are not able to avail that credit. அவங்களுக்கு கிரெடிட் கிடைச்சாலும் அது ஹையர் ரேட் ஆஃப் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்ல இருக்கு. ஸோ இந்தியா என்ன சொல்லுச்சுன்னா, இந்த global south countries-க்கு வந்து they should have credit at accessible, easier rate, affordable rate, so that they also can develop. Like this one statement was made. Then what else? So these were the takeaways, and let me see. Yeah, one another point of discussion was, because global challenges were discussed, the rise of China was also discussed. Rise of China discussed பண்ணாங்க. So China oda hegemony and all that was discussed. Okay. And there was talk about something called as gray warfare. Okay, gray warfare. Gray warfare means it's not a proper war between two nations. ரெண்டு நேஷன்ஸ்க்கு நடுவுல ஒரு சண்டை அப்படிங்கிற மாதிரி இருக்காது, பார்டர்ல நடக்கிற வார் மாதிரி இருக்காது. பட் கான்ஸ்டன்ட்லி ஓவர் அ பீரியட் ஆஃப் டைம் differences will be getting built. Okay, like for example, in India-China case, LAC conflict is there. Okay, so LAC conflict is one. அது எந்த மாதிரிலாம், how and all it shapes out is LAC conflict, trade wars, tariff wars, trade tariff wars, whatever you can keep it. Then this cyber attacks. So on the nuclear power facilities of India, China had made some cyber attacks. Okay, Kudangulam facilities la avanga konjam cyber attacks பண்ணிருந்தாங்க. And China's dominance in the Indian Ocean region. That is also it's something like a Cold War. So Cold War na அது சுத்தமா fight பண்ணாமலும் இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. Some minor conflicts like this will be there. So trigger, both two neighbors will keep triggering each other. So in the world, this is increasing. Like this, a statement was made. So this is also a security challenge for the world. Grey warfare is a new security challenge for the world. So this was stated. Yes. Okay, so these were the takeaways from that dialogue. Fine. And about IMEC, now we have to discuss. So IMEC on the dialogue they said IMEC has to go about like that, the Greek Prime Minister said. So what is this IMEC? We'll see. So before that, you know that as of now in Red Sea, because of the Israel and Hamas war, in Red Sea, the Houthi rebels of Yemen, yes, Houthi of Yemen, they are actually attacking the shipping lanes. So adanala ships have to, they are not able to use this passage. Instead, they have to circumvent around Cape of Good Hope and go. So one key data which you can note down in this regard is UNCTAD. According to United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, merchandise export, merchandise transport, okay, merchandise movement through this Bab el Mandab Strait, it is 12 to 15%. So globally, out of all the shipments that happen, 12 to 15% happens through this strait, Bab el Mandab Strait. And the Houthis are attacking that. So on the route affect achna, one viable alternative can be IMEC. So if this route gets affected, IMEC can actually be a viable alternative. So because of this Red Sea conflict and all that, people are looking at immediate takeoff of IMEC. So IMEC has to act like a solution for the Red Sea problem. So now we'll see what IMEC is. Can I change? So IMEC was actually, it was introduced by PGAA. PGAA means Partnership for Global Infrastructure Okay, so this is actually a West funded initiative. It is West funded. So it is a brainchild of the Western nations. So avanga da indha PGAA vandu propose pannadu, and they wanted to counter BRA and China's hegemony. So other counter panna, they wanted a transport and connectivity project. So other than Partnership for Global Infrastructure Investment. Okay. And this was actually, it was based on transparency, values based. Okay, so China through its BRA was involving in debt trap diplomacy. It was dominating small nations and all that. But that was not their motive. They wanted to obviously counter the growth of China, but they also they wanted to ensure that in the money projects win-win இருக்கணும். அதாவது யார் இந்த ப்ராஜெக்ட் facilitate பண்றாங்களோ அவங்களுக்கும் benefit இருக்கணும், and also the small country who's taking the loan, that country should also grow. That was the idea. And in that, now this IMEC was proposed, okay, as a part of this PGAA. So adula ஒரு ரூட்டா தான் IMEC சொல்லிருக்காங்க. Okay, India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor. And this proposal was actually made during G20 summit. So in India, G20 summit happened in September, during that September 23 G20 summit. So that time only this route was proposed. Okay. And can I change? So, so in this India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, so through this India actually, okay, there are two nodes. One is called as East Corridor, and the other one is North Corridor. So Rend Corridor, and it is made out of rail, road, and shipping lines. Then the multimodal corridor. So all sorts of transport வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, railway, roadway and shipping. So இந்த ரெண்டு ரூட்னா எப்படி சொல்றது, one is from India to Gulf. One is from India to Gulf. Gulf is actually Strait of Hormuz. It goes via Strait of Hormuz. Okay. And the other one is from Gulf to Europe. Yes. And the participants here are actually India, Saudi, UAE, US, European Union, France, Italy, Germany. So these are the participants. Okay. But one problem, so it looks, it's a very, okay, before we talk about the problem, this is also, so while we get to bypass the Bab el Mandab Red Sea Strait, other problem overcome பண்ண முடியுது. And also India is able to bypass Pakistan. We are also able to bypass Pakistan and get access into the Gulf nations, European nations and all that. So இந்த மாதிரி benefits லாம் இருக்கு. And but the problem is that the Strait of Hormuz is there, right? So here Iran has influence, and Iran does not actually have good ties with UAE, US, okay, Saudi. So அவங்க அந்த இடத்துல geopolitical conflict இருக்கு. UAE, Saudi, they are and all tilted towards US, but Iran வந்து it's tani. It is like it has more alignment with Russia. So the fact that this route passes through Strait of Hormuz, where Iran, if you locate on the atlas and see, you'll be able to see that Iran has proximate location with the Strait of Hormuz. So இது ஒரு problem. அவங்க வந்து whether they will allow the project to go about and all that. Okay. And so this is about the India Middle East Economic Corridor. So despite all these issues, all these countries have been, they are very often talking about this corridor, and they want to make this route a reality. So even recently in the, I think last week editorial, we were talking about India and UAE, a prime minister visiting UAE and all that. So even in that meeting, they reaffirmed the commitment to this IMEC corridor. And again, in the Raisina Dialogue also, they've spoken about it. So world is actually trying to facilitate this route. Okay. So is the status. And so yeah, that's all about this one. Yes. And next editorial is plight of informal waste pickers. Okay, plight of informal waste pickers. So if you see March 1, okay, March 1st was celebrated as International Informal Waste Pickers Day. Okay, let me, okay, you don't need to write that. So that's why the article was there. Yeah, International Waste Pickers Day. Okay, that was on March 1st. So these waste pickers actually, according to ILO, so it can be individual or micro enterprises. Collection or scavenging. So in world, mostly this the waste management, waste picking and all that, it is dominated by informal sector. Okay. So individuals or micro enterprises, you can say they intervene in waste management without being registered formally, without formal registration, you can say. Okay. So you know that worldwide population is increasing, consumption is increasing. So population rise agi, consumption rise ஆகும்போது waste generated நிறைய இடத்துல increase ஆகுது. So waste generationனால problem என்னன்னு பார்த்தா landfills rise ஆகுது. Okay, landfills means குப்பையெல்லாம் ஒரு கொட்டுறதுக்கு we need separate space. So and the landfills rising. So landfills rising is a problem because that land will get there is a possibility that it will go barren. It cannot be put to any other productive use. And when you dump lot of waste on a particular place, and the waste land, a lot of leaching will happen. So on the heavy metals leach ஆகி groundwater குள்ள போகும். Groundwater will get polluted. So landfills நிறைய problems இருக்கு. Okay, land pollution, water pollution, and those kind of things. So the land will lose productivity. So after that, plants might not grow there. That problem is there. And அது தவிர one another problem with this is incineration. Landfill also there is land scarcity because of rising population. ஒரு சிட்டில வந்து நிறைய waste generate ஆகுது, but அதை dump பண்றதுக்கும் place இல்லை because everywhere developmental activities are happening, industries are there, apartments are there, roads are there. ஒவ்வொரு இடமும் it is allocated for one use. So where is the space to put the waste? And இன்னொரு problem என்னன்னா ஒரு இடத்துல waste கொட்டணும்னா அங்க உள்ள residents வந்து oppose பண்ணுவாங்க. So obviously they don't want the aesthetics of their environment to be spoiled. They do not like it. It becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes, bacteria, a lot of vectors, diseases எல்லாம் spread ஆகும், stink emanate ஆகும். So ஒரு இடத்துல waste வைக்கணும்னாலும் அங்க இருந்து oppositionம் வரும். So இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய problems இருக்கு because of landfill. Seri, instead of landfill, if people go ahead with incineration means burning of waste. But there the problem is it is not at all a sustainable practice because it will lead to a lot of GHG emissions. And this is against our policy because India is looking at carbon neutrality. Greenhouse gas emissions irukakudadu, pollution irukakudadu, but incineration will actually add to the pollution. And when you incinerate, you're also stopping the waste to wealth. So there is this concept of waste to wealth conversion in இருக்கு. So when you burn, waste ல இருந்து wealth எடுக்க முடியாது. You're burning and making it into ashes. So where is the scope for wealth generation? Okay, so municipal bodies, they're taking to these kind of things only. They're going for landfills, they're going for incineration, but இது வந்து sustainable option கிடையாது. Okay, and so coming to this informal waste pickers, can I change this? So informal waste pickers actually, or let's say rag pickers, they are involved in collection, sorting, segregation, trading, and reinsertion, reuse of waste. Okay, so இதுல வந்து rag picker, scrap dealers, etc. All these people are involved. So they'll collect the waste, they'll sort, they will trade, segregate. Okay, so என்னெல்லாம் pick பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா mostly they'll be picking glass, metals, plastics, So this is these are the things that they look out for. And through this, these rag pickers actually help to promote something called as circular economy. Circular economy. So circular economy promote பண்றாங்க. And yeah, one another important data which you can note in this regard is according to PLFS finding. Okay, according to periodic labor force survey finding in 2017 to 18. Okay, in 2017 to 18 in urban India. In 2017 to 18 in urban India, there were actually 1.5 million waste pickers. Okay, 1.5 million waste pickers. And adula vandu 0.5 million. Okay, so in this 0.5 million were women. So in the 1.5 million la 0.5 million vandu women. And yes, can I change? So இது வந்து ஒரு crucial data when you talk about these people. And இதுல என்ன ப்ராப்ளம்னா the problems that they face. Okay, so these waste pickers are facing issues. So if you look at the issues that they face, so they are in informal sector. Okay, so their nature of work is such that unorganized, அவங்களா ஒரு government intervention இல்ல, regulation இல்ல, since they are not registered. So which means that these people are working in let's say a very unsafe atmosphere. They're working in unsafe atmosphere. So there is no PPE, no gloves. They're picking the waste with bare hands. Okay, gloves கிடையாது, PPE இல்ல, அப்படியே வந்து garbage குள்ள போய் நோண்டுறாங்க. And also this it may not be separate, but anyway the author has given this perspective. Okay, so municipal corporations. So municipal corporations, what they're doing is they are involving actually private contractors. Okay, so private contractors what they are doing door-to-door waste collection. So private contractors door-to-door waste collection பண்றதுனால these people's role in door-to-door waste collection has come down. So வீடு வீடா போய் waste வாங்கினா அவங்க வீட்ல அந்த இடத்துலயே வந்து அவங்களுக்கு அந்த வீட்ல என்ன waste கிடைக்குதோ from that garbage they'll pick. But when private contractors are coming into this job, they are not having the opportunity to collect from door to door. Instead they have to go to that big dump yard. So you would have seen, no, அங்க இவ்வளவு பெருசா வந்து ஒரு மவுண்ட் மாதிரி இருக்கும், ஒரு கார்பேஜ் எல்லாம் லோட் பண்ணி வச்சிருப்பாங்க. And in that mound they have to go and search. So they have to scavenge dump sites. Okay, so they are scavenging dump sites because they do not have access to door-to-door waste collection. Door-to-door waste collectionல வந்து municipality அவங்களை employ பண்ணல, private contractors வரதுனால for them the employment avenues or the scope to collect garbage from door to door is going down. Like that this author has given a perspective. And they are not having good toilets. Okay, so அவங்களோட work atmosphereல வந்து no toilets, no drinking water, and they're facing health issues like respiratory ailments. They're facing dermatological issues. Dermatological issues. And what else? And they also face they're working, you know, when they're out in the sun and searching and all that, dehydration problem is there. Okay, they're handling sanitary waste. So in the dump yards they also handle sanitary waste, human excreta. So all this they are handling with bare hands, no protective equipment. and they during COVID time and all that, a lot of biomedical waste also they were handling. So dump yards அதுவும் வந்துட்டு இருந்துச்சு. So without any protective equipment they were doing that also. So this also makes them very much prone to vulnerable to vector-borne diseases. Okay, vector-borne disease. ஏன்னா dump siteல போய் பண்றாங்க, அங்க நிறைய vectors இருக்கும், bacteria இருக்கும், germs இருக்கும். So flies, mosquitoes will be there. So because of that they become prone to vector-borne disease also. And இதெல்லாம் தாண்டி they also do not, the problem is that since they are in unorganized sector they do not have any health insurance cover. Okay, there is no health insurance cover for them. Other problem. Can I change? The next problem is that they have what is this? Wages, poor wages, remuneration. So for whatever they collect and go and sell, அவங்களுக்கு ப்ராப்பர் ப்ரைஸ் கிடைக்கிறது இல்ல. அந்த அந்த அவங்க கொடுக்குற ரிசோர்ஸ்க்கு என்ன வேல்யூவோ அது இல்ல. These people are actually exploited, and mostly they are from lower level in caste hierarchy. Okay, they are lower in caste, lower level in caste hierarchy, so they are prone to exploitation. Okay, they are prone to exploitation. These people, they are actually called as, if you want, you can write this, Safai Satis. Okay, in the term use பண்ணி சொல்லுவாங்க. Okay, and so they're not getting a good money for their produce. And in this sector, one another problem is the issue of child labor. So child labor இருக்கு. These people are from very poor sections of the society. So அவங்க ரொம்ப புவருங்கிறதுனால lower caste, ரொம்ப poor. So ஒரு nutrition இருக்காது, education இருக்காது, awareness இருக்காது. And they will they don't even know that they have to send their children to school, or they are in so much poverty that they have to take children also to the dump site. The kids also will be searching. Okay, so அதுவும் இருக்கு. Then so yeah, we were talking about the problems only now, and in this actually Alliance of Waste Pickers, one sec, Alliance of Indian Waste Pickers, this is one body. Okay, it is their union, Alliance of Indian. So Alliance of Indian Waste Pickers. So they said that they I told you right one point, door-to-door collection private contractors are doing. So they only said with this private contractors coming into door-to-door collection, our opportunities have reduced. Okay, so they're saying Alliance of Waste Pickers, this is their body. They said that after private contractors came into door-to-door collection, opportunities for us have reduced. So எங்களால householdsல இருந்து, businessesல இருந்து, schools, அந்த மாதிரி இடத்துல இருந்துலாம் வேஸ்ட் கலெக்ட் பண்ண முடியல, நாங்க டம்ப் யார்ட்ஸ் தான் போகணுங்கிற ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் வந்து இவங்க தான் கொடுத்தாங்க. Okay, this was given by them. And one another issue is the extended producer responsibility. So this was introduced in actually extended producer responsibility concept was introduced in plastic and e-waste management. Okay, this was introduced in plastic and e-waste management. So in this extended producer responsibility rules, lot of stakeholders have been identified. CPCB has been identified, producers, consumers, brand owners, importers, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய stakeholders identify பண்ணிருக்காங்க. But in this EPR rules, these rag pickers have been left out. Okay, so இவங்களையும் engage பண்ணணும், that these people have to be formalized அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி EPR rulesல இவங்களை வந்து they haven't even been identified as stakeholders. Okay, in the EPR rules, but actually you can also say solid waste management rules of 2016. In 2016 there was solid waste management rules. that one actually recognized them. So likewise, you should say, like how the solid waste management rules of 2016 recognized them. So on those lines, the EPR rules also have to recognize that, you say. Okay. So these are the issues. Okay. And one another important data which you can note in this regard is World Economic Forum report. Okay. World Economic Forum report of 2022. So it said that these informal waste pickers account for 60% of global plastic collection and aid in sustainable. So World Economic Forum report வந்து in 2022 அவங்க சொல்லியிருந்தாங்க 60% of the garbage or plastic waste is collected by these kind of informal waste pickers, and by collecting like that they are aiding in sustainable recycling. Okay, sustainable recyclingனால benefits என்னன்னா it also, so இந்த பிளாஸ்டிக் தான் இவங்க கலெக்ட் பண்றதுனால என்ன benefit அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா pollution of land, ocean எல்லாமே decline ஆகும். Pollution of land, ocean, everything will actually go down. Yes. So this was stated by World Economic Forum report. Yes, can I change? So if you see way forward. So way forward is, there was this Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, or it is a municipal corporation in Bangalore. Okay, municipal corporation in Bangalore. So these people, they were the first to register waste pickers. So they took a good measure of registering the waste pickers. Okay, Bruhat Bengaluru Mahanagara Palike, or municipal corporation. It's a body of the municipal corporation of Bangalore. So they went ahead and registered these waste pickers. Registered பண்ணிட்டு what they did was, so yeah, so obviously it aids in formalization. And one another benefit of registration is that these people can be employed at a lower cost. Municipal bodies as such, they are starved of funds. Municipal bodies ku adequate funds kadave kadiyadu. They are relying on state government or the center for grants. So because they are so cash starved and all that, rather than involving private contractors, okay, private contractor when they are doing, these private contractors will be using a lot of machinery and advanced technology and all that. So that is beneficial, but it is costly for municipalities. So you can say that they can look at registering the waste pickers, formalizing them. So you can say they can be given ID cards. Okay, the waste pickers, scrap dealers, இவங்களுக்குலாம் ID cards கொடுத்து இவங்கள formalize பண்ணி, these people can also be given, they can be sent for door-to-door waste collection. Okay, and you can suggest that they go for door-to-door waste collection, and they also be given space to work. So they should be given a space where they can collect the waste, go dump it and segregate it. அதுல இருந்து எல்லாம் பிரிச்சு வச்சு ஆப்ரேட் பண்றதுக்கு they should be given a space. Okay, and also in Bangalore there is a concept called as dry waste collection centers. So dry waste collection center enna, so I told you already that these workers will be picking glass, plastic, metals and all that. So அந்த மாதிரி அவங்க பிக் பண்றதெல்லாம் வந்து municipalities can purchase. Okay. In the dry waste collection center, they can offer good wages or remunerative price. Okay, so this can be done. So they will have more income. It also helps to formalize their work, so that you can say. And then you can say there is also a need for data collection. Data collection will help in evidence-based policy making. So evidence-based policy making la data collection aid pannum. That means you should see how many people are involved in waste collection. Adla men evlo, women evlo, children evlo, and what is the kind of waste they are collecting. Okay, evlo glass, evlo plastic, evlo metals. So idella irundhuchna accordingly we can plan what price to give, how we can facilitate it into circular economy. Plastic evlo varudhu, adla what kind of plastic is coming. So like that, so then we can accordingly design our plastic waste management rules. These kind of things. Okay, so just say data collection is important. And you can also say there can be a specific scheme which can be targeted at this section particularly. Then they can be given health insurance, that you can say. Specific scheme for these people, they can be given health insurance, and also they can be given skilling. Okay, skilling. So eppadi collect pannadhu, how to collect, how to segregate which item, which resource to look out for. These kind of things can be done. So you can say that. So that's all I think. NGOs also can aid. So NGOs plus the bodies like Alliance of All India Waste Collectors. These kind of things, along with NGOs, they can do more of collective bargaining. Collective bargaining na the waste that they are collecting, no, so adukku vandu better price vandu they can negotiate. Okay, so you can say NGOs can help them to achieve this, because ivanga ellarum vandu, since they are from they are uneducated, and since they are from lower caste groups, these people are generally exploited. But NGOs avanga aid panna, that exploitation can be reduced. So that's the thing. Which one? NGOs plus Alliance of Waste Pickers, Alliance of Indian Waste Pickers. அந்த பாடி நான் ஆல்ரெடி சொன்னேன், அதனால bargaining. Yes. So this is the thing, and all this can be done for now for formalization. So இவங்களை registered பண்றது, dry waste collection center வைக்கிறது, and what was the other thing that I told you? Yeah, formalization and these kind of things. But in the long run, you should say we need more R&D and mechanization in waste handling. Mechanization is the ultimate way, okay, because we cannot have people being employed in these kind of jobs. We do need circular economy, but as the country is on a development path, and as more people are coming into education and all that, so in the mari idella vandu later on in the long term, machines only will be doing. So for that we need R&D and mechanization and funds for municipalities. So all this has to be the long term agenda. For now we can register and formalize these people, and make their life better, give them more dignity and those kind of things. Okay, so this is with respect to your society. You can use this in society if they ask, because this is a vulnerable section of population, so you can associate it with social empowerment. Okay, the social empowerment topic la vandu help pannum. And talking about social empowerment, there was another editorial. So social empowerment theme la innone one short one only. This we already discussed, I think, many times. There was one author who spoke about the importance of ECCE. ECCE means Elementary Childhood Care and Education. Okay, elementary childhood care and education. So in the author என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, this is very very important because it helps to children are the future human resource, okay, and they are the bedrock of the nation. So author is saying we should focus more on this population, ECC, because children are the future citizens, they are the future human resource and they are the bedrock of the nation. So இவங்க மேல focus பண்றது important. And ECC கொடுக்கறதுனால one more benefit is that it will also facilitate women to work. So children வந்து அந்த 3 to 6 years or 6 monthsல இருந்து 6 years வரைக்கும் அவங்கள பாத்துக்கிறதுக்கு ஒரு setup if the nation has, more of women can actually participate in work. Okay, so these kind of points we already discussed, but some specific things which I wanted to tell you from that thing. So ECC la this person has also talking about Ministry of Education. அவங்க வந்து they have an initiative called as Nipun Bharat. So in the author சொல்லிருக்காங்க that our country for very long under this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan and education for all, first வந்து நம்மளோட priority வந்து 100% enrollment இருந்துச்சு. But now we have kind of achieved it. In primary level, we have achieved almost 10% enrollment. So now the focus is on quality education. So ECC ஒரு பக்கம் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. And அதுல வந்து ஒரு particular step ன்னு சொல்லி this author has spoken about quality education. And under that, he or she has mentioned about the significance of Nipun Bharat initiative. So Nipun Bharat stands for National what? Okay, National Initiative for Proficiency in Reading with Understanding and what is the other one? Numeracy. So Nipun Bharat initiative aims at reducing learning poverty. Okay, learning outcomes வந்து கண்ட்ரில அவ்வளோ நல்லா இல்லை. ஸோ அதுக்கு தான் நிப்புன் பாரத் ஸ்கீம் வந்து வந்திருக்கு. ஸோ நிப்புன் பாரத்தோட மாதிரி இனிஷியேட்டிவ்ஸோட சக்சஸ்க்கு we should also focus on ECCE, like that this author is saying. Okay, for Nipun Bharat's success, for the success of initiatives like Nipun Bharat, we should focus on ECCE is what the author is saying. And he has also stated that Ministry of Women and Child Development is now focusing on more of Anganwadis. So Anganwadis la than this ECCE is actually imparted. And Anganwadis la the theme now is to achieve Padai B and Poshan B. Padai B and Poshan B, that means in Anganwadis we are focusing on nutrition and education. So Anganwadis generally itself that only happens. So that is good for the nation, like that this author is saying. Okay, so நம்ம Anganwadisல children மேல மட்டும் focus பண்ணல, but we are also focusing on women. We are focusing on pregnant mothers, lactating mothers and all that. So in that way also it helps to build human capital in the country. So this author has spoken about Anganwadi initiatives, and he has also mentioned that in budget 2024, okay, in budget 2024, more of emphasis has been given on Anganwadi workers. So just a minute. Yeah, budget 2024 has emphasized on giving some sort of something for Anganwadi health scheme. I think health insurance, right? Huh? Yes. They budget 2024 also spoke about including them in Ayushman Bharat. So Ayushman Bharat, this is going to be including Anganwadi workers, Ashas, health workers. Okay, so all these people are actually going to be included. So this itself shows that country is focusing more on ECC. This author has given a perspective. And this author also says that, he's quoting this from research. He says that because of ECC, students will have, okay, when a child is imparted ECC, he or she will have better socio-economic skills for future, tends to be less violent in future. Okay, so all this is based on some research. He has quoted some research, the source and all, but that's not needed. You can just say based on research. Okay, so they will have better socio-economic skills in future. They tend to be less violent. It reduces suicidal tendencies. Okay, their suicidal tendencies are reduced, and obviously because of ECC, cognitive skills are boosted. Cognitive skills boost achna, learning poverty will reduce. Okay. So these were the viewpoints given by that author. Yes. So this is also related to social empowerment. These points you can just have in mind, okay, because it talks about women and children and all, fine. And next topic is land management, need for expansive land management policy. Can I change? Need for expansive land management policy. Yes. So this author, actually says that எதுக்கு land management policy தேவை அப்படின்ட்டு he has spoken about the need and the significance of this policy. Okay, so if you look at land, basically it is a very important resource. It is a key factor of production, and it provides social, economic, environmental services, social, economic, and environmental services to humans. Like this, from land, many benefits are there. And one another thing is, land is actually a stateless subject. Okay, it is a stateless subject, and a lot of it is under private ownership. Okay, private ownership is also more. So there, the private owner decides what he or she does over the land. So this fact the author has highlighted. So, and he or she, so you can say, hence user autonomy. Okay, or user autonomy சொல்றதை விட owner autonomy over land use, especially in agriculture and all. We are not able to facilitate sustainable land use because the farmer only gets to decide what he or she does with the land. So a proper land use policy இருந்துச்சுன்னா வந்து it will be better for the nation. Okay, like we should enable the change. That change can be facilitated by land use policy. Okay, and with respect to land use policy, you can say that land in India is actually 2.4% of global land. We have 2.4% of global land, but population that we have is 18%. So global land la nammaloda share வந்து 2.4%, 2.5%, but population வந்து 18%, which shows that there is imbalance, or it actually indicates that there is a lot of pressure on land. Okay, there is a lot of pressure on land. Hence, there is a need for optimal and sustainable use. Hence, needed. Optimal and sustainable use is hence needed because there is an imbalance and a lot of pressure. So population is also increasing, demand for food is increasing, agricultural produce increase ஆகணும், but land வந்து ஒரு அந்த ஷேர் வந்து மாறுறது இல்லை, it is static, but population and everything is dynamic. So there is a need for land management. Okay, and in this regard, the author has said that according to National Land Degradation Atlas, according to National Land Degradation Atlas, in India, around 30% of ISRO. Okay, this is by ISRO. Around 30% of land in India is degraded. 30% land is degraded. And according to UNCCD data, data padi pata, around 9% land in India is undergoing desertification. So degradation is decline in productivity. Desertification na anga vandu vegetation e vandu romba kammi, land is almost becoming bare. Okay, and the reasons stated for this are, okay, reasons அப்படினு பார்த்தா deforestation, overgrazing, mining, natural disasters, Okay, so all these are, these are some of the reasons, and you can also say erosion, various types of erosion. So you can say wind, water, coastal, and in the reasons for degradation, you can also say unscientific agriculture. So crop rotation illa, monocropping, too much of chemical fertilizer use, unscientific agriculture. So these are the reasons for degradation. Okay. And according to UNCCD, $6 trillion is the annual ecosystem services lost due to degradation. This much of annual ecosystem services is lost due to land degradation, and the land is actually losing its buffering capacity. So buffering capacity அப்படின்னு சொன்னா, let's say when there is a flood, okay, so if there are adequate wetlands, the floods can be prevented. Okay, wetlands வந்து sponges மாதிரி act பண்ணி flood water absorb பண்ணிரும். Drought timeல வந்து that water can actually be used. So in this way, land acts like a buffer which prevents flood and drought. Okay, but right now, because land is being encroached and land is being put to unsustainable use, wetlands are being diverted and all that, that is actually making land lose its buffering capacity. So wetland diversion is one, and you can state various reasons. Now, நம்ம ஏற்கனவே பார்த்தோம்ல, deforestation, unscientific agriculture, unsustainable mining. So all this is actually making land to lose its buffering capacity and its ability to provide ecosystem services. Okay, so both are declining, and you can say globally, UNCCD stands for United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. UN Convention on Combating So this is from 1994. Okay, UNCCD convention came about in 1994. It is the sole legally binding agreement on environment and development with thrust on sustainable land use. Sustainable land use. Okay, so you can write UNCCD is an important convention, and India is also a signatory to it. That also you can write. Yes, can I change? And okay, so what this person is saying is that okay, and okay, you can write the other things also. IPCC 2019. IPCC is International Panel on Climate Change. Okay, International Panel on Climate Change 2019 calls for stock taking of various national land management policies. So because land is such a crucial resource, IPCC 2019, அதாவது climate change பத்தி பேசின ஒரு ரிப்போர்ட் என்ன சொல்லுச்சுன்னா, டிஃப்ரெண்ட் கண்ட்ரீஸ் வந்து அவங்க லேண்டை எப்படி யூஸ் பண்றாங்க, லேண்டை எப்படி மேனேஜ் பண்றாங்க அப்படிங்கறத பத்தி நம்ம டேட்டா கலெக்ட் பண்ணி அனலைஸ் பண்ணணும். That is what is actually stock taking. Okay, so this was actually stated by IPCC in 2019, and FAO in 2021 also called for urgency in land management practices. அவங்களும் வந்து they said that immediately we have to do something to protect the land. It is in the interest of humans and environment and all that. So like this, FAO also stated. And some suggestions have been made by this author with regard to land management. So actually Article 243 ZD, yeah, 243 ZD1, he says that this provides for something called as district planning committee. So this district planning committee will actually have officials from panchayat and municipality. So the author என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, this district planning committee can involve various stakeholders. Okay, this district planning committee can involve various stakeholders and come about with a land management policy. So stakeholders like farmers, investors, government at various levels, about different government departments, landowners. So இந்த மாதிரி various stakeholders எல்லாரையும் collect பண்ணி by a participatory approach, it can collaborate with these people and make a land management policy. So அது வந்து district planning committeeக்கு அந்த role கொடுக்கலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு this author has suggested. And so this was the main thing that was suggested. And other things with respect to land management, so you can just say other initiatives. Okay, so this was actually stated by the author. So district management committee point was what was stated by the author. But when you're writing in your mains, you can also mention other initiatives taken for land protection. So you can say Great Green Wall. This is in sub-Saharan Africa to combat desertification or forest belt create பண்றாங்க. அது then UNCCD, then Bone Challenge. So Bone Challenge targets at restoring 350 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. By 2030, the target in Bone Challenge is to restore 350 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. Okay. And India, okay, before we talk about India, we'll finish the world initiatives. So, and இதெல்லாம் வந்து all these are the initiatives at world level. And yeah, during this UNCCD's COP 14, okay, Conference of Party 14, which happened in Delhi. So Delhi தான் அது நடந்துச்சு. That time there was something called as drought toolbox. So this drought toolbox was introduced. So drought toolbox la enna nadந்துச்சுனா various countries they came and put forward their drought management practices. So avanga or drought vanda eppadi manage பண்ணுவோம் அப்படினு a lot of best practices were shared. And because land is losing its productivity and people are suffering adikadi climate change catastrophes la nadakkuradnala, this drought toolbox actually becomes very much relevant. And this is initiatives at global level. And initiative at India level, we have National Green Mission. A global level, you also add this. Globally, there is a target for LDN. LDN means land degradation neutrality. Land degradation neutrality. And in India side, we have National Green Mission. Next is the okay, in the Indian side, we have National Green Mission. And during COP 14, we made New Delhi Declaration. Okay, that was in COP 14 of UNCCD, which happened in 2019. So adula vand New Delhi Declaration we gave for sustainable land use. And India has a target to restore 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. Okay, so India is targeted at restoring 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. So these are the Indian level initiatives. And when we say land degradation neutrality அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம்னா, what is the meaning means we should maintain quality of land and quantity of land such that land is able to provide ecosystem services and food security. So you can say land degradation neutrality means land available to meet, okay, land available to meet ecosystem services and food security remains static, okay, remains static over spatial and temporal scale. So across space and time, the amount of land which is required to meet the ecosystem services and food security needs அதுக்கு ஒரு fixed quantity of land வந்து maintain ஆயிட்டே இருக்கணும். So for that we should do land degradation neutrality or restore degraded lands, reclaim degraded lands. Those kind of efforts are needed. And yeah. So some other steps which can be taken in this regard are actually in India we have something called as draft land utilization policy. So இது வந்து draft formatல தான் இருக்கு. We haven't brought it into effect. So this can be, there is a need to formulate and implement. So இதுல வந்து எப்படிலாம் sustainable land use பண்ணலாம், or how we can use in agriculture sector, how we can use in industrial sector. So all such ideas can be collected, made into a policy, and it can be published. So formulate and implement, and this will also can also guide states to form their own land management policy. Okay, because states they have to form it on their own because land is a state subject. So national level, if we have a model policy, இப்போதைக்கு draftல தான் இருக்கு, இது பண்ணல. So national level model land utilization policy is there, means states can accordingly formulate, using this as a reference, they can formulate a land utilization policy to ensure sustainable land use and to achieve land degradation neutrality. So இது ஒண்ணு. And one more thing with respect to land use, since we talk about land use policies, you can also mention this point of land banks. Land bank means it is a parcel of ready to use land. So இது வந்து generally it is done for to facilitate EODB. EODB is what? Ease of doing business. So business வந்து start பண்ணனும்னா land acquisition itself is a long process. It's a tiring process and time consuming process. So அந்த process வந்து cut down பண்ணி simplify பண்ணி ease பண்றதுக்காக this land bank policy is being implemented by different states. So land bank policy will also aid in land use efficiency. So எங்கெல்லாம் free land இருக்கோ அதெல்லாம் எடுத்து government will have a database. Okay, government body will kind of have an idea as to where it is there. So when any industry or some developmental activity wants to establish in a place, that parcel can be facilitated. And land banks they will also have pre-approvals and clearances. So apart from facilitating sustainable land use, so business and economic growth and the purposes we should also promote this land bank policy. That also you can write. Okay. And can I change? And while talking about land use categories, according to state revenue departments and Survey of India, the various land use categories in India. This also you can say. So land management in Salopondhu, if you know the land use, you can accordingly do land management for each of these uses. So land is under miscellaneous tree crop. Some land is arable land, or some is barren land. Okay, arable land we call it as NSA. NSA stands for net zone area. NSA means net zone area. For instance, India has the largest net zone area in the world. Okay, net zone area and pata in arable land. Arable land அரபிள் லேண்ட் தான் நெட் zone ஏரியாவா மாறும். ஓகே, எந்த லேண்ட்ல ஏதாவது வளர்க்க முடியுமோ அதான் நம்ம நெட் zone ஏரியாவா மாத்துவோம். ஸோ இந்தியா ஆக்சுவலி ஹாஸ் த largest net zone area in the world, but in gross cropped area we are not the largest. In gross cropped area China is the largest. Abdina, let's say if we have some 100 units of land, India has 100 units of land, means China is having roughly, okay, just for assumption, China is having 80 units of land. But in the 100 units of land la vandu நம்ம வந்து வருஷத்துக்கு ஒரு crop தான் வளர்க்கிறோம். Only on an average if we see we are doing only one crop per year. So we are doing 100 meters square of cultivation. But China may have 2 crops or 2.5 crops per year. Apna meaning enna? They will have 160 meters square of cultivation. So this is what is gross cropped area. So land management policy proper anda in the net zone area kum gross cropped area kum ulla difference vandu korayum. Our gross cropped area can be enhanced. So you can give this China example. So India has the largest arable land in the world, but in gross cropped area we are not the largest. China is behind India in arable land, but in gross cropped area they are the highest. It is because their land use management is efficient. They know how to use land in a sustainable way and how to make it more productive, how to extract more from it. They've devised ways that you can say. And so yeah, coming back to land use, net zone area, miscellaneous tree crop, barren land, pasture land, pasture or grazing land, and land which is in non-agricultural use. Non-agricultural na developmental activities. Okay. Housing, industries, roads, adella the non-agricultural land use. And also you can say current fallow, other than current fallow. Current fallow means it is left for cultivation without cultivation for less than 1 year. Other than current fallow is left without cultivation for 1 to 5 years. Okay. Fallow land na left without cultivation. Or crop harvest pannaprom cultivate pannama vitta adu vandu fallow land. Current fallow na less than 1 year if it is left without cultivation, current fallow. 1 to 5 years cultivation illana other than current fallow. Culturable wasteland அப்படின்ட்டு ஒன்று இருக்கும். அப்படின்னா left for cultivation even for more without cultivation for more than 5 years. அங்க வந்து வளர்க்கலாம், பட் 5 வருஷமா ஒண்ணுமே வளர்க்கல. அதுதான் that is culturable wasteland. Fine. So this is about land management. So last editorial is on AI. Okay. Can we change? Huh? So challenges. Okay. AI is artificial intelligence. So worldwide artificial intelligence order use is increasing. Use of artificial intelligence is increasing. Digital technologies are on the rise. So in this regard, unregulated. Okay. So AI and robotics, they're having many robotics. You can say, you can also mention terms like machine learning. So in the many technologies nala, there are many implications. So there is possibility of violation of ethics, and there is also a threat that there is a threat that something that is designed to benefit man can possibly go against man. So man benefit பண்றதுக்கு design பண்ணது தான் artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, everything. So the idea was that machines should make the life of men simple, humans simple. But actually, people are becoming slaves of machines, and these machines are making many errors. There are many biases. Algorithmle problem irukku. So அதனால நிறைய disadvantages இருக்கு humans. Okay. So algorithm unable to make right unable to make right judgment. Yes. So this is leading to many problems. Can we change? So if you see the issues, so you can just write down that many digital spaces are created. So because of artificial intelligence, this technology, when it comes, first the regulation won't come. Technology will come. Approdan technology la vandu ஏதாவது problems varum, issues varum, only then the regulation will come. So now also artificial intelligence technology has come. So that has created many digital spaces, digital technologies, digital way of life and all that. And these are actually outside of state control. Okay, these are outside of state control, and power is wielded by those who design these systems. So power is in the hands of people who design the system. இப்போ ஒரு automatic car அப்படின்னு பார்த்தா, that automatic car, whether what it should do when it encounters an obstacle, that will be decided by the programmer. Later on, if it causes damage to life and property, then only state will come and say இல்ல நீங்க இந்த மாதிரி program பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்ட்டு. But initially இது எப்படி போகணும், எப்படி ஓடணும்ங்கிறது வந்து it is in the hands of the programmer. So that is why we are saying power is wielded by those who design these systems. Okay, this problem is there. So state regulation is insufficient. Okay, artificial intelligence is booming, but state regulation is insufficient, and this can pose risk. It can be problematic and all that. And you can say intervening in democratic processes, like this thing was there, right? Cambridge Analytica. This was a UK-based firm. They did they used Facebook data for profiling people. Okay, so அவங்க Facebook data வந்து வச்சு peopleோட opinions study பண்ணிட்டு, there was an allegation that this was used to manipulate elections in USA. Okay, so இது வந்து கொஞ்சம் old news தான், but you can write this. Okay, profiling people, and it is used in shaping public opinion. So this AI-based technologies are being used to manipulate electoral campaign. Okay, electoral campaigns, voting choice. Okay, so this in the data லாம் எப்படி analyze பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா through artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence plays the role of analyzing all these data. Okay, and through this data, profiling of people is done. Then they are targeted, and accordingly, electoral campaigns, targeted advertisements, all this will be done so that their voting behavior can be changed. So campaigns can be carried out. So it's not just by in voting process. This can also be used by terrorist groups, organized crime groups, insurgent groups. எல்லாருமே யூஸ் பண்ணலாம். Everybody can actually misuse it. Okay. Then the next problem is lethal autonomous weapons, okay, based on artificial intelligence, or these are also called as killer robots. Lethal autonomous weapons or killer robots. So this, so இது வந்து they are all அவங்க எப்படின்னா automatic weapons. So weapons வந்து program பண்ணிருக்கோம். So weapons வந்து human intervention இல்லாமலே இந்த weapons ஆல operate பண்ண முடியும். They can operate without human intervention. Automatic weapons operate without human intervention, and the problem because of this is that there can be, so humans இல்லாம ஒரு machine வந்து it will make decisions and fight. So இதனால என்ன நடக்கும்னா probably if it is deployed in a war, there can be unplanned escalation of conflict. So even when humans are fighting, civiliansலாம் வந்து அதை attack பண்ண வேண்டாம். Some moves in wars, when soldier to soldier fight is there, that will be avoided. But if machines are going to fight, if robots are going to fight, the fights can become extreme. So one robot will take one step on the side and the conflict can boom and it can become big. Okay, so unplanned escalation of conflict, erroneous targeting. So civilians can be targeted. Okay, these kind of things can happen. There is a probability of malfunctioning of weapons. There is a possibility that weapons can be hacked. Hacking of weapons. So undesirable elements, or when they want to create trouble, they may even hack the weapons because they are running based on artificial intelligence and internet-based technology. So hacking possibility. So all this means that war can become bigger. So there is high risk. Okay. And the next problem, can I change? Yeah. Next is that there can be errors and biases. Okay, artificial intelligence-based devices or technologies, they can make errors. There's a possibility of bias. For example, if you see facial recognition technology, so this is one AI-based technology which has been facilitated by feeding data sets and by machine learning and all that. But this is making error in identifying and it's because of the wrong data sets which have been fed. So based on the data sets fed only, the machine will be able to take decision. But all these technologies are actually developed are made in the developed world. So developing world and the technology illa. So avangaloda data, avanga podra data வந்து it is all the data set from their country. So majority it will be their people and their faces and all that. So in identifying people with darker skin tone, many errors have been made. So there's a probability of error. So wrong யாரையாவது ஒரு wrong identify பண்ணி wrong accuse பண்றதுக்கு possibilities ஜாஸ்தியா இருக்கு. And in employment, or let's say recruitment, when AI-based systems are used, there is a there has been report of bias against women. Okay, there are reports of bias against women. So AI-based automatic interviews and selection process women selection lower இருக்கிற மாதிரி evidence இருக்கு. And in medical diagnosis and treatment, so artificial systems are suggesting many treatment. Okay, so when they're suggesting treatment, there is no transparency as to how treatment is chosen. There is no transparency on how a particular treatment method is chosen and suggested. Okay, so AI is increasing in medicine, but அது எப்படி ஆப்ரேட் ஆகுது அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து தெரியல. Okay. And next issue is that there are sophisticated cyber attacks, cyber threats like phishing. Phishingனா அந்த பாஸ்வேர்ட்ஸ்லாம் ஹேக் பண்ணி invading into the space of other people in digital world. Okay, these kind of things are happening. And one other important change, can I change this? Okay, and one another major problem is which has been in news is there is this frontier AI or foundation generative AI models. Okay, there is frontier AI or foundation generative AI models. These are actually leading to deep fake videos, impersonation. So many celebrities are caught in this, right? Cricketers and actors and all that. So நிறைய deep fake videos generate ஆகுது. So it takes very long, then it circulates, it goes all over the internet, then that person has to come and say, no, it was not me. And these kind of things are happening. So இது வந்து ஒரு model of this frontier AI அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இந்த மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் பண்ணும். So this is also a problem. So these are the challenges that arise out of AI. And coming to the need to regulate, or so because of all these challenges, regulation is needed. So இவ்வளவு challenges இருக்கிறதுனால regulation needed. But regulationல இருக்கிற problem என்னன்னா, regulation is needed, we'll keep that aside. But the problems with regulation are that first problem is that businesses are unhappy because their autonomy will be violated. So அவங்க வந்து ஒரு system design பண்ணிருப்பாங்க, algorithm. Now automatic car means whoever is designing that automatic car will have a way as to how that car should operate. But if the state is going to say no, it has to be going this way only, or hindrance பார்த்தா அது proceed பண்ண கூடாது, அங்க நின்னு ஆகணும், அந்த மாதிரிலாம் rules போட்டா that is obviously not going to be liked by whoever is designing it. So not just car, in various things, in various cases, businesses are not going to be very happy with the state regulation, so they are going to be resisting. Okay, they will try to resist the regulation and all that. Then you can say loopholes in regulation. So like regulation cannot be foolproof. So despite regulation, a lot of problems are happening. So என்னதான் நம்ம regulate பண்ணாலும் new problems வந்துட்டே இருக்கும். So that you can say. So these are some of the issues with respect to regulation. And now coming to the efforts being taken, you can say in India we have the digital personal data. Digital Okay, so this was passed in 2023 August. Okay, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, so as to protect people in digital spaces. And right now we are having Digital India. You can also say இது வந்து while you can say while protecting them in digital spaces, there is a lot of weightage to privacy. Okay, in this, the core idea is privacy. In the Act level, the idea is that the companies should not misuse people's data. A lot of these devices and all that, which people are using, they have access to people's data. But through Digital Data Protection Act, we are protecting privacy, and users will have autonomy over their data. And this protects Article 21. It is in line with the Krishna Puttaswamy case verdict of Supreme Court, that you can say. And India next has this Digital India Act. It is being made. Okay, it has not yet come. Okay, it is going to replace IT Act. This Digital India Act is going to replace IT Act, and this has chapters on. Okay, it has chapters on AI and how to maintain ethical standards. So அந்த மாதிரி concerns-லாம் வந்து இந்த Digital India Act-ல வந்து it is being formulated. So this was about protecting personal data. The Digital India Act is a little more, it goes into the ethical angle. So artificial intelligence-னால வர all these ethical questions address பண்ற மாதிரி this act will have a chapter or provision that you state. And in the global level, you can say European Union is formulating a law, and China next. Yeah, if you see in the global level, China is developing. Wait, it is making something called next generation. So China is making next generation artificial intelligence development plan to ensure ethical standards. So in the plan, அவங்களோட objective to ensure ethical standards. China's this one, next generation AI development plan. And in November, so this is first one. Second is in November 2023, world's first AI safety summit. Okay, world's first summit on safety in use of artificial intelligence technologies. அது வந்து happened in UK. Okay, UK-ல வந்து அது நடந்துச்சு. And in this summit, there was a declaration called as BLET. So in the summit, there was something called as Bletchley Declaration. Yes, Bletchley Declaration, and this was given, and around 28 countries signed it. So 28 countries have signed. So the world, if it has to ensure ethical standards in AI and safety in the use of artificial intelligence and all that, they have to adopt this declaration. The world nations, all the nations should follow. Also, you can say that there is need for investing in more of research. So because this is an emerging technology, we are having usage is more, problems are also more. So if we do more research, we can maybe try and address the problems that you say. And also we can facilitate industry self-regulation. Okay. So this is with respect to the artificial intelligence. Okay, so these are the editorials actually, and I'll just tell you questions. If you want, you can take down 5 questions. Okay. So one is with respect to that informal waste pickers. Highlight the problems faced by the informal waste pickers. Highlight the problems faced by the informal waste pickers. And how can they be tapped? How can they be tapped to boost municipal solid waste management? Right, as MSW. Yes. Highlight the problems of informal waste pickers and how can they be tapped to boost municipal solid waste management. Okay, that is first question. Second one, Raisina Dialogue. Raisina Dialogue is a significant step. In New India's diplomatic outreach to the world. Significant step. Is a significant step in New India's diplomatic outreach to the world. Comment. Okay, in that question itself, one more part. Write on the significance of IMEC corridor. Spoken about in the Raisina Dialogue. Write about the significance of the IMEC corridor discussed during Raisina Dialogue. So that's the second one. Next one. What are the challenges? What are the ethical challenges arising out of artificial intelligence and robotics? What are the ethical challenges arising out of artificial intelligence and robotics? Full stop. Comment on the rising need for regulation of this sector. Comment on the rising need of regulation for this sector. Also mention the efforts taken in this regard. Also mention the efforts taken in this regard. So these things and all we are discussing, no, like this. Then next question. Comprehensive land management policy. Comprehensive land management policy has social, economic, and environmental benefits for India. Comprehensive land management policy has social, economic, and environmental benefits for India. Discuss. Okay. And last one. What do the latest HCES findings? What do the latest HCES findings reveal about the state of Indian economy? what policy changes can be made from the HCES findings? What policy changes can be made from the HCES findings? Or you can even say suggest some policy changes that can be made from the HCES findings. Okay. So that's all. Thank you. Huh? Okay, class and